most attractive people can meet somebody in real life. They don't really use online dating as much. So when you find an attractive girl on a dating site,
Picture this. You spend hours crafting the perfect dating profile, writing thoughtful messages, and planning amazing first dates. Meanwhile, some guy sends a message that would make your grandmother faint. And guess what? He gets the date. Today, we're diving deep into why attractive men have completely broken the dating game, and more importantly, why women keep letting them get away with it. Let me paint you a picture of modern dating reality. A woman receives a message that simply says, "Hey cutie," followed by something so inappropriate, I can't even repeat it on this platform. Any normal person would immediately block and report, right? Wrong. She actually responds asking what he means. Meanwhile, average guys sending genuine, "How was your weekend?" messages get completely ignored. This isn't just one isolated incident. Women are sharing their horror stories across social media platforms, and the pattern is crystal clear. One woman shared how her date literally told her she looked chubby in her photos while they were sitting across from each other at dinner. Another described how her date casually mentioned there was another woman in his bed that morning, but he left her to have breakfast with his date instead. The audacity is absolutely mind-blowing. But here's where it gets really interesting. That same woman who got insulted about her appearance, she still went home with him that night. The woman whose date mentioned another woman in his bed, she continued the date. This is the brutal reality nobody wants to acknowledge about modern dating dynamics.
what makes a man super attractive is his ability to embrace rejection. Now, what we mean by this is, of course, nobody likes to be rejected.
The most shocking story I came across involved a woman who took 2 days off work and flew from Queensland to Melbourne for a weekend with someone she'd been talking to for weeks. The moment her plane landed, he completely ghosted her. She got dressed up, waited at the agreed location, and never heard from him again. The level of disrespect is staggering, yet these are the exact men women are choosing on dating apps. Let's examine what's really happening here. When women swipe through dating apps, they claim they want someone with a great personality, interesting hobbies, and genuine conversation skills. But their actual swiping behavior tells a completely different story. They're matching with the shirtless gym selfie guy who has "just ask" as his entire bio, not the thoughtful profile with detailed interests and career goals. I've seen women literally swipe on someone just because they owned a Ferrari, completely ignoring every red flag in their profile. The contradiction between what women say they want and what they actually choose is creating this toxic dating environment where attractive men know they can behave however they want without consequences. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Attractive men have figured out that effort is completely unnecessary. They don't need witty openers, they don't need to plan thoughtful dates, and they certainly don't need to treat women with basic respect. Why would they? The system rewards bad behavior with continuous options. One particularly brutal example involved a guy who brought two other women to what was supposed to be a first date, openly stating he wanted to speed up the process of finding his ideal situation. Instead of walking away immediately, the woman stayed and later complained about how terrible men are. This is the cycle that keeps perpetuating the problem. The dating app algorithm makes this situation even worse. These platforms are designed to keep users engaged, which means showing the most conventionally attractive profiles first. Average-looking men with genuine intentions get buried under an avalanche of hot guys who treat dating like a game they've already won. What's fascinating is how women will experience these terrible dates, get treated like garbage, and then make social media posts about how all men are trash. But they're not dating all men.
Always say to men, you will never ever get the same level of respect and love from a woman who's not attracted to you.
They're dating a tiny subset of men who have unlimited options and zero accountability. The majority of respectful, relationship-minded men aren't even getting a chance because they don't fit the narrow visual criteria that drives modern dating app culture. For average guys trying to compete in this environment, dating apps have become an expensive exercise in frustration. Some men report spending hundreds on premium features just to get a handful of matches that never respond to messages. The economics don't make sense when you're competing against men who get dozens of matches daily without trying. The psychological impact on women is equally damaging. They're experiencing a constant stream of disappointment, disrespect, and emotional manipulation from men who see them as completely replaceable. This creates trauma responses and defensive behaviors that affect their ability to recognize and appreciate genuine connection when it does appear. But here's where personal responsibility comes into play. Women have the power to change this dynamic immediately by simply matching their actions with their stated values. If personality and character actually mattered in their decision-making process, the dating landscape would shift overnight. The problem is that physical attraction often overrides logical decision-making in the moment. Social media has amplified this issue by creating highlight reels that make everyone believe they deserve someone who looks like a model. The comparison trap keeps people chasing unrealistic standards while ignoring potentially compatible partners who don't photograph well but would treat them amazingly.
Sometimes you gotta let a man who was never on your level to begin with go back to what he's used to.
The solution isn't complicated, but it requires collective behavioral change. Women need to start rewarding the behavior they actually want to see instead of the appearance they find most immediately attractive. Men need to stop enabling the system by raising their own standards and refusing to compete in environments that devalue their genuine qualities. Dating apps will continue prioritizing profit over meaningful connections, so individuals need to take responsibility for their own choices. Whether that means meeting people through shared interests, social circles, or simply having higher standards for how you allow others to treat you, the power to change this dynamic exists in everyone's hands. The dating market feels broken because we've allowed it to become broken. But recognizing these patterns is the first step toward making better choices that actually align with long-term happiness instead of short-term attraction. The question is whether enough people are willing to change their behavior to fix what we've collectively created.